The crimson sun hung low over the jagged plains of Zitharon, casting long shadows across the skeletal trees and cracked stone. Lieutenant Jace Rowan trudged through the desolate landscape, his gear battered from weeks of survival training missions in the uncharted territories. Supplies were low, and morale was lower. For the past 3 days, he had been subsisting on small rations, scavenging what he could, and using every ounce of ingenuity to stay alive. That evening, he spotted the remnants of an ancient camp, a charred fire pit and a broken rack that once held tools and hunting implements. Among the debris, an old spear leaned against a rock, its tip dulled but intact. Relief surged through him. Finally, something to catch dinner. He cleaned the shaft, sharpened the tip with a jagged stone, and began constructing a rudimentary spit over the remains of the fire. As he worked, he felt the cold tendrils of unease creeping along his spine. The wind carried strange whispers, like echoes of voices in the distance. He shook his head. "Just nerves," he muttered, trying to focus. Cooking meat would restore his strength, nothing more. Just as he skewered a piece of scavenged protein over the fire, a voice, deep, resonant, and alien, cut through the stillness. "Now your species is on the menu." Jace froze. The words were clear, spoken in perfect common, yet no figure was visible. His hand tightened around the spear. "Who's there?" he demanded, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. From the shadows of the broken forest, shapes began to emerge. Tall, sinewy creatures with iridescent exoskeletons, moving with unnatural grace. Their limbs were long, ending in sharp, curved appendages that glinted in the fading light. Their eyes, multiple and multifaceted, focused on him with an intensity that was almost tangible. Jace raised the spear instinctively. "I'm armed. Leave me alone." The largest of the creatures stepped forward, its mandibles clicking. "Armed? Against us? You are prey, human. Survival instincts do not make you a hunter here." Panic threatened to take hold, but he forced himself to think. Zitharon was a planet of hunters, a place where predators ruled every ecosystem. These beings had evolved to dominate their environment, and Jace knew that direct confrontation was likely suicide. He needed a strategy, a way to survive against creatures that could kill him with a single swipe. He remembered the old survival manual in his pack, written by explorers centuries ago. Predators are territorial. Show intelligence, not aggression. Confuse, adapt, survive. Taking a deep breath, Jace lowered the spear slightly. "I don't want to fight," he said. "I only want to eat, rest, and leave your territory peacefully." The creatures tilted their heads, mandibles clicking in a rhythm that suggested communication. One stepped closer, circling him. Jace noticed that its movements caused subtle vibrations in the ground, like a form of echolocation. If he could disrupt their perception, he might have a chance. He grabbed a handful of charred embers from the fire and threw them toward the rocks nearby, creating a sudden flare. The leading predator recoiled, confused by the sudden burst of light and heat. Seizing the moment, Jace pivoted and ran, weaving between the jagged trees and rocky outcrops. The chase was immediate. The predators pursued with astonishing speed, their exoskeletons reflecting the dying sunlight, claws tearing into the cracked stone. Jace ran toward a narrow canyon, knowing the terrain better than the creatures did, at least in theory. He needed a trap. Reaching the canyon's edge, he spotted a natural overhang, a collapsed rock ledge that could be triggered to fall. He turned back, planting the spear in the ground to slow his pursuers, then sprinted back and grabbed a boulder, pushing it with all his might. The ledge collapsed, crashing down and blocking the narrow passage. The creatures screeched in frustration. Their hunting patterns were disrupted, but Jace knew this was temporary. They would regroup and continue tracking him. He needed to act quickly. Using his neural interface, he accessed his portable scanner, mapping the terrain for energy signatures. There was a cave system nearby, likely a natural shelter and hiding point. He sprinted toward it, every sense alert. The predators followed, but one misstep sent a creature tumbling into a crevice, slowing the group. Inside the cave, Jace's heart pounded. The darkness was absolute, broken only by the faint bioluminescent fungi lining the walls. He crouched, holding the spear at the ready. Then he listened. The creatures were outside, their clicks and vibrations echoing against the stone. Minutes passed. The echoes faded. Jace exhaled, allowing himself a moment of relief. But he knew better than to assume safety. Zithron's predators were intelligent, adaptive, and relentless. He needed more than hiding. He needed leverage. Exploring deeper into the cave, he discovered an underground stream. The water glowed faintly, charged with minerals that created a weak electrical field. Inspiration struck. He could use this to his advantage, create a trap that would turn the predator's own hunting instincts against them. He collected branches, rocks, and pieces of metal from his gear, rigging a tripwire connected to the stream. The idea was simple. If the creatures pursued him into the cave, the conductive water would emit electrical pulses strong enough to disorient them, allowing him to escape. As night fell, the predators entered the cave, drawn by his scent. Jace waited, muscles tense. When the lead predator triggered the tripwire, a surge ran through the water, lighting up the cavern and sending the creatures into confusion. Their clicks became erratic, movements jerky. Seizing the moment, Jace sprinted past them, deeper into the cave network, finally reaching an exit leading to a ridge overlooking a safe zone previously marked on his scanner. The predators, now dazed and disoriented, could not follow immediately. He collapsed, gasping for breath, adrenaline still coursing through his veins. For hours, he watched the terrain, ensuring the creatures had not recovered. Eventually, the ridge offered a vantage point from which he could navigate to a nearby outpost, where he could call for extraction. He realized then that the encounter had changed him. The predators had not only tested his survival skills, but also forced him to adapt, innovate, and confront fear in its most primal form. When he finally reached the outpost, weary and scorched by the elements, the staff stared at him in disbelief. His gear was torn, his body covered in scratches, and the tale he told sounded almost mythical. "You faced Zithron's apex predators alone?" one asked. Jace nodded. "Yes. They wanted me as prey. But I used the terrain, my tools, and my wits. I survived." The commander, a grizzled veteran, shook his head. "That planet has claimed countless lives. Few have returned. Your story, it will be recorded, studied, and remembered." And so it was. Across the sector, Jace Rowan's encounter became legendary. The human who faced the predators of Zithron, who grabbed an old spear to roast meat, only to discover that survival demanded ingenuity, courage, and the ability to turn the hunter into the hunted. In the years that followed, he returned to Zithron multiple times, leading teams, establishing research outposts, and using his experience to train new recruits. But he never forgot that first night, the Crimson Sun, the